Welcome, everyone. We're diving deep today.
Ooh, yeah, into a topic you specifically requested.
Yes, human evolution, the search for solutions.
And the really interesting twist is that
We're looking at a spiritual text.
Yeah, we are not your typical academic source here.
So we're going to try to glean wisdom.
Yes, extract it and make it applicable to, like, your life today.
So we're talking about the nature's secret of human evolution.
Oh my goodness, what a title and spiritual renaissance of mankind.
And the imminent emergence of the Divine Master.
Oh boy, okay, so we're setting the bar high.
Yeah, written by Shri Suresh, Kumar, Makam.
Okay.
And before we even begin, we need to acknowledge this disclaimer.
What does it say?
Cleanse your mind, with practice of sadhana, and then go through literature. Otherwise, reality will be lost upon you.
Okay, so this is setting a very particular tone.
Have you done your sadhana?
Well, I dabble, I try.
It's very interesting because Shri Suresh studied under Shri Raghavendra Rao.
Okay, a revered teacher.
And this book really dives into some complex ideas.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the most fascinating is that absorption.
Absorption
Is the key to human evolution.
Okay, so he's talking about, like, when you get lost in something, right? Like a piece of music.
When you're completely absorbed.
Right, or like looking at a beautiful painting.
Nature.
In nature, yeah. When you just feel that sense of awe and wonder.
He uses those examples to, like, connect it to us.
Yeah, so we can all relate.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not just an abstract concept. He's talking about experiences we've all had.
And he's saying it shapes our personalities.
Oh, so it's not just a fleeting feeling. It actually has a lasting impact.
Even unconsciously.
Even unconsciously. Wow, okay, so that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like who we spend time with.
The books we read.
Media we consume.
Right, it all kind of seeps into us.
Shapes us.
Yeah, whether we're aware of it or not.
So this begs the question.
Yeah.
Can we be more conscious
Ooh, that's a good question.
of what we're absorbing?
Right. Can we actually harness this power of absorption for our own benefit?
Yes. And he warns us about the flip side,
Oh, there's a flip side?
saying absorption can be both positive and negative.
Okay, so it's a double-edged sword.
Totally. And he uses some intense historical examples.
Oh, like what?
Like Hitler,
Oh, boy. Okay.
the way he was able to manipulate people
Propaganda.
through propaganda.
Right. Rally them to his cause with devastating consequences, obviously.
So when it's directed towards negative ends,
Yeah.
it can be destructive.
Incredibly so.
It makes you think about the challenges today.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We are constantly bombarded with information.
So much of it negative.
Yeah. Or designed to manipulate us.
Right. Clickbait, headlines, all that stuff.
How do we cultivate
Yeah.
positive absorption in this world?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It's a huge question.
It is.
And to break down how it works,
Yeah. How does it work?
he introduces this model
Okay. A model for absorption.
of players involved in the absorption process.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Give me the players.
Thought potency?
Thought potency.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, mind, heart.
Heart, like, right.
Spirit and prana.
Okay, prana. So we're getting into some Eastern concepts here.
Yeah, to be honest, it's a lot to wrap my head around.
I can imagine, yeah, these are some pretty dense ideas.
Okay, so think of prana like a life force energy.
Okay, prana, life force energy. Got it.
It's the fuel.
The fuel that powers us.
Yes. You find this concept in many Eastern traditions.
Similar to in Chinese medicine.
And the book suggests that we all have these dormant energies.
We do.
Within us.
Okay, dormant energies. I like the sound of that.
That things like yoga can awaken.
Oh, so we can tap into these energies.
And he doesn't just focus on individual growth.
Yeah.
He suggests by tapping into these deeper energies,
Yeah.
we might contribute to healing
Ooh.
and positive change on a larger scale.
Okay, so it's not just about personal transformation. It's about like a ripple effect.
Wow.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, to understand this further,
Okay, where are we going?
he takes us back to our origins,
Okay, back to the beginning.
talking about the primal seer
The primal seers, who are they?
and their role in transmitting ancient Vedic knowledge.
Okay, so like the keepers of ancient wisdom.
He's saying to understand where we're going,
Right.
we need to understand where we came from.
We need to look back to move forward.
These seers, like Kashyapa, Atri, Vishwamitra,
Those names sound familiar.
almost mythical figures.
Yeah, but their wisdom has been passed down for centuries.
And he connects these seers
No.
to the Saptarishi Mandal constellation.
Oh, wow. Okay, so like the stars themselves.
These 7 stars that have been known to astronomers for ages.
So he's weaving together like ancient wisdom and cosmology.
Makes this ancient wisdom feel tangible.
Yeah, like it's woven into the fabric of the universe.
Like it's part of us.
Beautiful way to connect the ancient and the modern.
So we're on this journey from pure spirit to physical beings.
Okay, guided by this ancient knowledge. But where does this journey ultimately lead us?
Where does he take us next?
That's the big question.
He takes us on a grand exploration of human evolution.
Human evolution. Okay. He describes how we evolve from pure spirit
Right.
to the emergence of souls
Okay.
in physical bodies.
Right, so the whole shebang.
But what's fascinating,
What?
he talks about the parallel evolution
Parallel evolution of what?
of the universe itself.
Oh, wow. Okay, so he's drawing a connection between like our own personal evolution and the evolution of the cosmos.
It's like he's saying the same principles
Like what kind of principles?
governing our bodies.
Yeah.
Expansion, contraction, birth
Death. Right. The cycles of life.
are reflected in the cosmos.
So it's like a microcosm, macrocosm thing.
The birth and death of stars,
Yeah.
the expansion of galaxies.
He's saying it's all connected.
It's all connected.
He's painting a picture of interconnectedness on a vast scale.
If we're all interconnected
Yeah.
and the universe is constantly evolving
Constantly evolving, how do we navigate this complex world?
and contribute to positive change,
That is the quest.
that's where the exploration
Exploration of what?
of different philosophical approaches
Oh, okay, interesting.
comes in.
So he's offering us some different lenses to look through.
He introduces three influential teachers:
Okay, teachers.
Acharya,
Acharyas.
Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, and Madhvacharya.
Wow, those are some names.
Each had a unique perspective
On
on the nature of reality and the path to liberation.
Oh, so like different paths up the mountain.
So we've got ancient seers,
We do.
cosmic evolution,
We've got it all.
and now these different philosophies.
It's a lot to take in.
Seems like he's giving us a lot to consider.
He is. He's really packing it in.
It's important to remember these philosophical approaches
Yeah.
aren't just abstract ideas.
No, they're not just sitting in an ivory tower.
They've had a profound impact
Impact on what?
on Indian society for centuries.
So they've actually shaped the way people live.
Yeah, shaping cultural norms, social structures, even political systems.
Okay, so they have real world consequences.
How do we connect these ancient teachings
Yeah.
to the problems we face today?
Right, because the world is a very different place now.
It can feel overwhelming
It can.
to think about applying these ideas
I know what you mean. It's like, how do I take this ancient wisdom and make it relevant to my life?
to the complexities of modern life.
That's a great point.
And I think that's where the concept of the divine master comes in.
Ah, the divine master. Okay, tell me more.
Throughout history, there have been individuals
Individuals who have embodied this role.
who have embodied this role,
Okay.
guiding humanity through periods of crisis
Right, like beacons of light.
and transformation.
So he's saying we need guidance. We need someone to show us the way.
Yes, these different philosophical approaches
Yeah.
offer a framework
For understanding our place in the universe.
and the ancient myths,
Like what?
like the stories of Vishnu's incarnations,
Right. Those are some classic myths.
can provide practical guidance
So it's not just theory. It's actually applicable.
for living in alignment with these principles.
It's like a how-to manual for life.
So we've got philosophy, ancient wisdom, the power of absorption,
And don't forget the divine master.
the guidance of divine masters.
It sounds like he's laying out a pretty complex path
Yeah.
for human evolution.
He is.
And he uses the 9 incarnations of Vishnu.
To explore this further,
Okay, so each incarnation has a lesson to teach us.
each incarnation embodies a unique
Unique what?
lesson or principle relevant to human evolution.
So we're going to dive into those incarnations
Yeah.
and see what wisdom they hold for us in the 21st century.
We are.
All right, I'm excited about this.
Me too.
It's like cracking open a treasure chest of ancient wisdom. These incarnations are fascinating. Like each one embodies a different
Quality, yeah.
quality or approach to navigating challenges. It's like he's giving us,
A toolkit for evolution.
yes, drawing on these ancient archetypes.
Okay, so let's dive in. Which incarnation speaks to you
The most.
the most right now, given what we're facing in the world?
The one that keeps coming to mind is Kurma the tortoise. This incarnation is about stability patience, laying a strong foundation.
Okay, I like that imagery.
Think about how a tortoise carries its home on its back, steadily moving forward despite any burden.
In a world that feels so chaotic and uncertain,
I know, right?
it's appealing.
That sense of steady progress.
Yet it's like a reminder that we don't have to rush in, that we can take our time and build something.
Solid, something that can withstand the storms.
Exactly.
And think about how a tortoise also symbolizes longevity.
Longevity.
We need that long-term perspective, that willingness to play the long game if we want to create
Lasting change.
Yes, lasting change.
It's so easy to get caught up in the immediacy of things.
To feel like we need to solve every problem right now.
Right now.
But maybe sometimes the wisest approach is to slow down, to be patient, to build a foundation that will support us for the long haul.
I love that.
And then there's Araha, the boar,
So,
who represents the retrieval of what's been lost or forgotten.
So he dives into the depths.
He dives into the depths and brings back what's precious.
That makes me think about how much wisdom we've lost.
Oh, yeah.
Or neglected over time.
Forgotten wisdom.
Yeah. And maybe part of our evolution involves rediscovering that.
Bringing it back to the surface.
Integrating it into our modern lives.
That's a beautiful way to put it. We can learn from the past not by dwelling there, but by retrieving the gems of wisdom that can guide us in the present.
I like that, retrieving the gems.
Yeah, mining the past for those nuggets of gold.
He also talks about these great teachers or divine masters who have emerged throughout history.
He does.
He seems to be pointing toward a need for guidance.
Yeah, for someone to help us make sense of all this.
And show us the way forward.
Right, because it can be overwhelming, can it?
Yeah.
All this ancient wisdom, all these complex ideas.
Right, and one figure he highlights is Swami Vivekananda.
Oh, Swami Vivekananda. I've heard of him.
Who lived in the late 19th and early 20th centuries.
Okay, relatively recent.
Vivekananda was a spiritual leader who drew on the ancient wisdom of Vedanta but presented it
in a way that resonated
with the challenges of his time.
Okay, so he was bridging the gap between the ancient and the modern.
Exactly, and what's interesting is that he lived during a period of immense change.
Much like our own.
India was under British rule.
Right. Colonialism was in full swing.
Facing social and political upheaval, the world was on the cusp of a new century grappling with rapid industrialization and the rise of new technologies.
It sounds familiar.
Doesn't it?
It does. It's like we're living through a similar period of accelerated change.
In the midst of all this,
he offered a message of hope.
And empowerment.
Okay, so he wasn't just doom and gloom. He was actually offering a way forward.
He didn't shy away from the challenges, advocating for education, health care, the upliftment of the downtrodden.
Yeah, he was a true social reformer.
But he also emphasized
the importance of spiritual awakening.
Believing that true change had to come from within.
Okay, so it's an inside-out approach.
He was a bridge between the ancient and the modern, finding ways to apply timeless wisdom to the complexities of a rapidly changing world.
Do you think he could be considered a divine master?
He possessed many of the qualities Sri Suresh associates.
Like what?
With the divine master.
Okay.
Wisdom, compassion, courage, and a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all things.
He sounds like a pretty remarkable individual.
But whether or not he was the divine master
right.
is open to interpretation.
Okay, so Sri Suresh is leaving that up to us.
It's interesting how he doesn't give us definitive answers.
Yeah, he's not dogmatic.
He presents these ideas and lets us grapple with them.
To come to our own conclusions.
He's more of a guide than a guru, encouraging us to think for ourselves.
I like that approach. It's empowering.
And speaking of forging our own path, I'm curious about how Vivekananda's teachings might apply to the specific challenges we face today.
Like what?
Climate change.
Huge one.
Political polarization, social injustice.
Yeah, the list goes on.
Issues that feel almost overwhelming.
It can feel like we're drowning in problems sometimes.
It's true that the world has changed dramatically since Vivekananda's time.
No doubt about that.
But his core principles remain remarkably relevant.
Okay, so they stood the test of time.
He emphasized self-reliance, the power of education to transform individuals and societies.
And the importance of service to others.
Values that feel more crucial than ever.
In the 21st century.
But how do those values translate into action?
Yeah, that's the key question.
How do we move beyond simply admiring these principles and actually embody them?
In our lives.
In our lives, especially in a world that often feels so divided and chaotic.
That is the challenge.
And I think Vivekananda would say...
He would say what?
That it starts with cultivating compassion.
Compassion.
He believed that true strength comes not from dominating others, but from mastering ourselves.
So it's about inner strength, not outer strength.
And he saw service to others as a powerful way to connect.
With our shared humanity.
And transcend the divisions that separate us.
So it's about breaking down those barriers that we erect between ourselves.
So it's not about waiting for someone to come and save us.
No.
It's about doing the inner work.
Cultivating compassion.
And finding ways to serve others.
It's about recognizing our interconnectedness, not just as an intellectual concept,
but as a lived experience.
He believed that the barriers we erect between ourselves based on religion, nationality, ethnicity, or any other superficial difference are ultimately illusions.
So in a way, we're all potential divine masters.
We are.
We all have the capacity to embody these qualities.
And contribute to positive change.
I believe that's true.
Hmm.
And Sri Suresh seems to be pointing us in that direction.
Encouraging us to step into our own potential to become the change we want to see in the world.
But he also acknowledges the challenges.
The internal and external obstacles we face on this path.
And one of the biggest challenges, it seems,
Is
navigating the constant influx of information and distractions.
in the modern world.
Yeah, we're constantly bombarded with messages that pull us in different directions,
Information overload, it's a real thing.
making it difficult to stay centered and focused on what truly matters.
Absolutely. And this is where Sri Suresh's emphasis on the power of absorption becomes so critical.
Yeah. How do we cultivate that positive absorption?
How do we become more discerning about what we allow into our mental and emotional space?
That's a great question. And I think it requires a multifaceted approach.
Like what?
It's about cultivating a strong inner foundation through practices like meditation or mindfulness.
Yeah, that allows us to stay grounded amidst the chaos.
It's also about being intentional about the information we consume.
Seeking out sources that uplift and inspire us rather than those that fuel fear and negativity.
It also makes me think about the importance of community,
Community.
of surrounding ourselves with people who share our values and support our growth.
That's essential. We can't do this alone.
We need each other.
To stay on track, to lift each other up when we falter, and to hold each other accountable to our highest aspirations.
It sounds like a lot of work,
It is.
but also incredibly empowering.
It is. It's about taking ownership of our own evolution.
It's like he's saying, yes, the world is a mess, but you have the power to change it.
Starting with yourself.
And he's not offering a simple one-size-fits-all solution.
No, he's not.
He's presenting a complex tapestry of ideas and practices, inviting us to explore and find what resonates with us.
What empowers us to become the best versions of ourselves.
And speaking of exploring,
Yeah.
we haven't even touched on the 9 incarnations of Vishnu yet.
I know, right? We've just scratched the surface.
Each one seems to offer a unique lesson for navigating the challenges of human evolution.
They do, and I'm eager to dive into those stories. But before we do,
Yes.
what's resonating most with you so far? What's standing out as particularly relevant to your own life and the world we're living in?
Okay, so the 9 incarnations of Vishnu.
Yeah, each one embodies a unique principle or lesson, right?
I'm really drawn to the story of Matsya, the fish incarnation.
Oh, Matsya, yeah, what about it?
It reminds us that even when things feel chaotic and overwhelming, there's always a seed of hope.
A possibility for renewal.
Yeah.
It's a powerful metaphor for our times, isn't it? The world can feel like it's on the brink of disaster, but there's also this incredible potential for transformation and rebirth. The story of Matsya reminds us that even in the midst of destruction, there's always the possibility of a new beginning.
Out of the ashes, a phoenix will rise.
Exactly. But it's not just about waiting for something to magically happen.
We have a role to play.
We do in creating that renewal.
And that's where the other incarnations come in.
Right. They offer different perspectives and approaches to navigating challenges.
Like Kurma.
Stability and patience.
We talked about that earlier.
Laying a strong foundation, taking a long-term view.
Varaha.
The bull who dives into the depths to retrieve what's been lost or forgotten.
Rediscovering ancient wisdom.
Integrating it into our modern lives.
What about Narasimha, the man lion?
Oh, Narasimha, he's fierce.
He's a fierce protector, standing up against injustice and tyranny.
Narasimha reminds us that sometimes we need to tap into our primal strength, our courage and conviction to fight for what's right. It's about being willing to stand up for our values, even when it's difficult.
Righteous anger.
Yes, channeling our passion and energy towards creating positive change.
Vamana, the dwarf who expands to cosmic proportions.
Vamana.
He represents the principle of transcending limitations.
Of realizing our boundless potential.
The only limits are the ones we set for ourselves.
Exactly. Vamana reminds us to think big, to not let our perceived limitations define us.
So we've got hope and renewal, stability and patience, retrieving what's been lost, righteous anger and boundless potential.
Quite a toolkit.
What other lessons can we glean from these incarnations?
Well, there's Parashurama, the axe-wielding sage.
Okay.
He represents the need for balance and purging what's corrupt or outdated.
Dismantling systems.
Yes, sometimes we need to clear the way for new growth, even if it means breaking down old structures.
Then there's Rama, the embodiment of Dharma.
Rama, living in accordance with universal principles with integrity and righteousness.
True leadership is about serving a higher purpose.
Upholding what's just and true.
Being the change you want to see in the world.
Living your values even when no one is watching.
Krishna, the divine statesman.
Krishna navigating complex situations with wisdom and compassion.
Skillful action adaptability.
A deep understanding of human nature.
Krishna is often portrayed as a strategist, a bit of a trickster even.
Yeah, he's got that playful energy.
Sometimes we need to be clever to think outside the box, to find creative solutions to seemingly intractable problems.
He reminds us that evolution isn't always linear, that sometimes we need to be flexible and adaptable to navigate the complexities of life.
And finally, there's Buddha, the awakened one.
Buddha, the path of enlightenment, transcending suffering through wisdom and compassion.
He represents the transformative power of mindfulness and compassion.
True liberation comes from within, from cultivating inner peace and understanding.
It's amazing how these ancient stories offer such profound and relevant wisdom. It's like he's given us a roadmap for evolution, a toolkit for navigating the challenges of our time.
I agree. He's reminding us that we have a choice in how we respond to these challenges.
We can choose to be overwhelmed by the chaos.
Or we can choose to tap into our inner resources, our inherent potential for growth and transformation.
It's a powerful message of empowerment, isn't it?
Hmm.
We're not powerless victims of circumstance. We have the capacity to create a better future for ourselves and for the world.
And we don't have to do it alone. We have the wisdom of these ancient traditions, the guidance of those who have walked the path before us, and the support of each other.
This has been an incredible deep dive. Suresh's book is so rich and thought-provoking.
It really is.
It's definitely sparked a lot of reflections for me.
Me too. It's a book that I think we'll keep coming back to, finding new insights and inspiration each time.
So what's the one thing you want our listener to take away from this deep dive? What's that final thought that you hope will stay with them long after they finish listening?
I hope they'll remember that they are not alone on this journey of evolution. We're all in this together, and we each have a unique role to play in creating a brighter future. And I hope they'll be inspired to explore these ancient teachings, these timeless stories, and discover the wisdom that resonates with them, the wisdom that can guide them towards becoming the best versions of themselves.
Beautifully said. And I'd add that it's not about achieving some kind of perfect state of enlightenment.
No, it's not about perfection.
It's about embracing the journey, the challenges and the triumphs, and continually striving to grow and evolve.
Exactly. It's about embracing the fullness of our humanity with all its complexities and contradictions.
This has been an incredible conversation. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.